I'm Holly Constant.
And I'm Maddie Hockaday. We really love Parks and Rec, and we really love behind-the-scenes details.
So we're researching everything from DVD extras like deleted scenes and commentaries,
plus interviewing cast and crew who actually worked on the show.
We also bring on guests and friends to geek out about everything parks.
So join us, you tropical fish.
This is literally the best Parks and Rec rewatch podcast.
We're your park pals.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Also, just FYI, I have Phoebe and RJ in here today because they just looked so comfortable, and I didn't want to kick them out. But also, I talked a lot. Like I read out loud because I wanted to practice if Phoebe, because every time Phoebe hears me speak out loud, she's like fine when I'm silent, and then I speak out loud and she's like, I want to talk too. But she didn't. So I was like, let's just test this. But if you hear her,
try it.
That is what's happening. So
okay, beautiful.
Anyways,
I'm sure they're glad that they're in with mom.
Yeah, little babies. Okay, so I have a bit of a recap. So we're on the bubble, but I have quite a bit of recap from Road Trip. So John Sloman. Okay, welcome to Park Pals. Sorry, I didn't do that.
Yes, here we are.
Hello, welcome. Okay, we just have so much to cover. I feel actually in this one because there's just a lot going on, so I want to get right into it. But okay, the recap. So John Sloman, who was the committee guy who brought up the raccoons, did send in his voice memos, but they were after we already recorded. So I kind of just stuck them in there. And so if it was choppy or if it felt weird after that we didn't comment on him or anything like that, that's why. But I just wanted to make sure that they got into that episode because that's what we were talking about. But first of all, I just wanted to thank him. But secondly, I wanted to say how awesome they were. Like when they talked about Adam Scott, or he talked about Adam Scott's head being really big, like physically, not ego-wise. And I was like,
I'm glad he clarified.
Really you said what?
I'm glad he clarified.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it was just funny to me because I've said that before too, like with TV, actors and film and everything. I don't know if it's because they're on our screen as so small or whatever, but I remember when I saw Jimmy Fallon live in LA when he did his LA show, for the Tonight Show, his whole body looked so large, including his head. And I was just like, this is so wild because you look so much bigger. But obviously, I guess it's just shocking to see somebody in real life versus on the tiny screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's it, probably.
Yeah, but that's probably what it was. Plus, he also said he had the joy of getting to improvise with Amy Poehler, which was nice. Also, he said, I haven't watched it. Everyone's raving about it, but the show The Last of Us is on HBO, and Nick Offerman had a scene in it recently. So if anyone watched that or has not watched that, go ahead and do that. I have that on my list.
Yeah, I read something that said that he almost passed it up, and then Megan Mullally read the script, and she handed it to him and was like, well, I guess you're going to Calgary. So have fun, buddy. And just kind of gave the push. I read that in an article, so I'm not saying it's 100% true, but if the article's true, then it's true.
Yeah.
My brother says it's good, and it's off of a video game. So yeah, I've heard rave reviews about it, and it's cool to see Nick Offerman in a serious role.
And I've seen trailers of him. He's been in many serious roles after Parks, and he's so good at it. I mean, I can't say I've watched full episodes of what he's been in, but I've seen clips of what he's done, and I'm like, oh my gosh, good for you.
He was in The Founder about McDonald's, how McDonald's came to be. He's one of the McDonald brothers.
Oh, okay.
And I really liked him in that. He did a good job.
Yeah, he was in another Hulu show that I can't remember the name of, but either way. Great job. I mean, he was a serious professional actor before Parks too, so I mean, I get it, but it's just interesting because obviously we all know Miss Ron Swanson. Anyway, also Mando is the main character in The Last of Us, so that's really fun, and I can't remember his name.
Pedro Pascal. We love Pedro Pascal.
Yes, that's it, and he's going to be on SNL tonight. So just
FYI. I'm so excited.
Well, we're recording this on Saturday. He would have been on SNL last week. Everyone, okay?
Yes. Which crossover because the last person was Aubrey Plaza, so full circle.
Yeah. Full circle. All right. So if you want to follow John Sloman, who sent us those, who is the committee member, he is at the John Sloman on Twitter and Instagram. I did tag him on our last one. So, go ahead and listen to that. And then, oh my gosh, Rene Pena, great voice memos. Rene Pena was the one that was the committee member with John Sloman, and I'm going to play hers for you because she sent in some wonderful, wonderful voice memos, and she was like, I've never done this before, so I don't know if it's good. And I was like,
That's
oh my
cute.
God, they're perfect.
This is a side note. I'm super jiving on your shirt.
Oh my God, it's the Grinch shirt.
Yes, I love it.
It's pajamas.
I'm here for it. I'm
so
still in my
sorry.
PJs too.
Oh my God. These are the ones that my mom got for me, and Brooklyn and Brett, and we all are matching, and it's really funny.
Love it.
So the first one, obviously, I asked her about her audition and how it was to audition for the show, how she got her job, and this is what she said.
So I got the audition through my agent. Dorian Frankel was the casting director. I went into her office in Hollywood. It was the first time I'd ever auditioned for the show, but I was familiar with it. I loved it. I loved doing comedy. And pretty quickly, either that day or the following day, they put me on a veil, which was unusual for the time because many times you had to go in for a callback. But they put me on a veil, they booked me, and 7 days later I was on set. So it was a pretty quick turnaround, and I was thrilled, needless to say.
Yay!
Awesome.
So that's how she got her job. And then I asked her, obviously, about like what it was like to be working on the set and all that kind of stuff.
It was a relatively long day on set, mostly because there were several scenes and setups scheduled to shoot. I can only remember 3 now because those were the 3 I was involved in. But my second favorite part of working that day was the location. It was this beautiful historic building on Lucerne Boulevard owned by the Ebell of Los Angeles. It was just a gorgeous building. So not only did I get to work with Amy Poehler and Adam Scott, but I got a beautiful location as well. So it was a good day to be an actor.
I'll have to post that, by the way, that building, because I looked it up. I Googled it, and it is so beautiful. It really reminds me, I don't think this is where they did it, but remember, did you watch Bring It On, right?
Yeah.
It really reminds me of that high school that they use for like all the, rom-com-y movies.
Okay.
But it's like super gorgeous and arches, and yeah, so I'll have to post it. I'm so glad she said that. I love a location breakdown.
Yeah. No, it's great. I'm not concerned. That I don't know why I was going to say that. I'm intrigued that she was there all day for what seemed to be a pretty short scene. But I guess she just was having to wait.
Technically, she had 2 scenes because she comes out and says the delegation from Pawnee, and apparently she said that she had.
Right.
I don't know if she says it in here, but they had to like turn around the scene, or like turn around the set and fix some stuff. So. Yeah, but yeah, usually the guest stars are saying that like, they're there for like 2 hours in the end. But yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's interesting.
Okay. Then I asked what it was like to work with Amy Poehler and Adam Scott because she had some scenes with them just like John Sloman. And here's what she said.
Well, watching Amy Poehler and Adam Scott work was a masterclass. They were so comfortable with themselves, with each other, with being on set. And they were having so much fun. There was such playfulness about them, kidding with each other, joking around, and letting creativity come out of that joy, of that fun, of that sense of play. And it was just a blast watching them work. It was a true lesson in trusting your talent.
I love that.
I love that too. I think there's something to be said really like in any career when you hit that point where you're just comfortable, like, and you found your groove, like that's really cool. I mean, I'm sure Amy found that like long ago because she's been in comedy, many years before she did this show, but just to hear that you could see the comfortability like in her work, it's really cool.
Yeah, well, and just like in any improv scene too, I mean, your scene partner is everything. So, or not everything, but is like 89.99% of everything. So like if you can be, joking around and finding that ease with someone, that is just, it's a game changer.
Yeah, huge.
So then I asked, last thing, if we could promote anything for her, if there's anything that we can like look out for. And here's what she said.
Thanks so much for having me on your podcast. It's so much fun talking about what I do. It's a crazy business. It's a fun business. I just finished shooting my 4th episode of The Sterling Affairs for FX, and my episode of The Game on Paramount Plus comes out in mid-February.
Yay! So we'll be sure, I'll tag both of those things in the show notes so you guys can at least follow along. She doesn't have social media, so honestly, good on her. But so I would have tagged her if she was, but so we'll look out for those 2 shows. And thank you so much to Rene and John for sending in voice memos. That's amazing.
Yeah. I haven't heard of either of those shows, so I'll have to look into what they are.
There's so much content in the world. It's insane.
Bro.
Like, I don't know how to keep up.
Yeah.
Okay, the other thing that I didn't mention is that I don't know why I wrote this in the recap, but I just felt like I needed to say it. Like that kiss between Ben and Leslie in the last episode, I feel like kind of ruined me because now I'm just like expecting someone to just like grab me and kiss me. It's like those comic like romantic comedy situation where it sets up such an expectation for what you expect to happen in real life. This was realistic, don't get me wrong, but you know what I mean?
No, but I think you're right. There's a piece of, I don't know if it's like, now, probably not when I was a teenager, but as an adult, you watch romantic comedies and you're like, that's what it is. It's fake, right? It's there to make us feel things. But like a lot of those guys, like a lot of these perfect relationships you see in the movies, they're not realistic. But The Office and Parks and Rec give you such realistic humanness to all the characters and all the scenes where it was like, oh my gosh, this is real. This could happen to me. This is the expectation now,
Yeah.
Like that's so true.
Yeah. So
For real.
That was that. And then, now Phoebe's coming in. So maybe it just takes like 25 minutes for it to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. I did email Burley and I asked him about how he felt about being on set and doing this scene in the courtyard and everything. And he got back to me and said, I'm just going to read his email. He was like, I actually have little to no memory of shooting this episode other than how surprised I was by how great Aubrey could sing. Yeah. And I was like, we just said that.
That's what we said. Yeah.
Yeah. He said when she was singing, we were playing live, which was super fun because they filled the set with extras. Felt like we were doing a mini concert. So that's really cool to know that they were doing it live.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. I love Burley. Thank you, sir, for always, getting back to us so quick and everything.
I know. I love it. He always ends his emails with, if there's any other questions, let me know. He's like, I don't know if I can answer them, but, let me know. And I'm always like, oh, it's perfect.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Okay, now this is the last recap, but I did do some, I went back to the first, we had talked about, I went back to the first DVD and I got some of the bloopers because the blooper reel was on the first episode, or first disc rather. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to play some of those for you once I find them.
This can be taken out, but we should have Burley come on for like a full ass episode, like whenever he's in a really long one again.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I feel like he would enjoy that.
Yeah, I'll definitely ask him. Okay, so the first one is from The Fight, the Snake Juice one. It's John Ralphio and Tom doing Get That Paper.
Love to stay and chat, but we
got something to do. We gotta get that paper.
Slow it down.
Get the paper. Fast. Get that normal now. Get that paper.
Slow it down.
Get the paper.
Really slow. All right, we'll see you later.
Take care, man.
It's just so funny.
You don't even have to see them to hear how much fun they're having.
Yes, totally. That's exactly right. They were just playing with each other. And I mean, and it's funny because like they kind of kept it together halfway, but not really.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, I just needed to share that. And then the last one is like super like funny and just so weird. Chris Pratt weirdness happening. I just want you to hear it. I won't even try to explain it anymore.
What episode is this from?
Oh, this is from The Fight, the
okay.
same one, and it's Janet Snakehole and Burt Macklin.
Love it.
Look what you're talking about. Do that again.
What were you talking about?
Oh my God.
You have a boner?
I do.
Dude,
I can't help it. That is crazy. No one's ever slapped me before.
What?
Aren't you married?
I don't know if he was at that point, was he?
I think he was before he even started the show.
Okay, well, either way, I just think it's also really
That's
hilarious.
funny. Yeah.
That, like, in the last, like, year or so, he was, like, super about, like, God and everything. And, like, I mean, I guess God people can be, like, you know, dirty and horny, too. But it's just...
Yes.
It's just hilarious because I think that he wasn't like that at the beginning. But, yeah, so she slaps him, basically. And that happens. I really don't think he was joking, but I guess he could have been. I mean, it's interesting to hear it audio wise because in the actual like viewing of the scene, like he's like bent over, like smiling, like, oh my God, what is happening?
I've seen that before, which is why I think it's real.
Yeah. So anyway, that's that.
Good times.
Those are the recaps. Thank you so much for listening. I love the bloopers. They're probably my favorite thing ever in anything. That's like my favorite thing to watch.
Well, it's because you get to see people having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
All right. So now we are finally at The Bubble, Season 3, Episode 15. This was directed by Matt Sohn. He is a camera operator and DP who we know from The Office, but also he's worked on Superstore, Muppets, The Mick, but he directed quite a bit too, including Abbott Elementary, which, oh my gosh, on Hulu, Home Economics, Fresh Off the Boat, Angie Tribeca. Like, he's done so much amazing work, and he's also been the DP for quite a bit of these. He also worked on Mr. Robinson, which was Craig Robinson's show from 2015 as the DP, and I had no idea that was even a show until I saw it on IMDb. And then he also did an episode of New Girl, like a ton others. It also says he was additional crew on Elizabethtown, and I don't know what he did on it, but I love it. And this is his first and only time directing Parks, but I'm pretty positive he came from The Office because they already knew him. All right. Then this was written by Greg Levine and Brian Rowe. Greg Levine is on, if you listen to the Parks and Recollection podcast, he is the like third quote co-host who brings a lot of stuff in. He also wrote the episode Ben's Parents for Parks in season 5 when they meet.
That episode so much.
Great episode. Again, this is his. You said what?
Relatable.
Yes. For a lot of people, you are right. Again, this is his first writing credit, but he was the writing assistant with Brian Rowe, who wrote this episode with him. And he worked on Parks in the writer's room, in the script continuity, and a script coordinator as well. So he's been in the crew for a few different projects that we know and love. But that's what his main thing was for Parks, was working on the script quite a bit, like in the writer's room with them. Apparently he was a casting assistant for I Love You Man with Paul Rudd, which I had no idea. Great film. He was there too. Yep, Rashida's there too. And he was a production assistant on The Office and ER. So that's cool.
Good deal.
And I'm going to put Phoebe away because I can't handle it.
Okay. I can't even hear.
I love you so much. Goodbye. Okay. Then we have Brian Rowe, who is the other writer, who kind of has a similar path. He's also a script coordinator, but he was a writing assistant as well with Greg Levine for Parks, and this is his first writing credit as well. And he also worked on Up All Night, which was created by our gal Emily Spivey, which we talked about when she wrote her episode on Eagleton. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, they both have been in and around the community with and everything. I reached out to literally everyone. I don't know why I need to say that all the time because I literally reach out to everyone every single episode, but haven't heard back. Them and Jessica St. Clair don't have their agent's information listed because they're famous, so I get it. But yeah, so whatever. Anyway, great episode. Really loved this writer and director. Did great.
Awesome. Yeah, it was a good one.
So now I have summary.
Perfect. I just wanted to comment that I found that's 4.27 million views for this one, which is less than the last one. Anyway, the fight and road trip were on one night, right? And then this one and Lil Sebastian were on the same night, and they said the views were about the same if you put both episodes together.
Okay.
So just interesting. Okay, I have a very short summary because I want to get into it. So, Chris decides to shake things up in the Parks Department, challenging everyone to make a little change. Meanwhile, Ben has an unexpected and unique introduction to Leslie's family.
Yeah. Oh my God, crazy. But yeah, Dan's first day at City Hall. This cold open is lovely. I love it so much. I totally forgot. I didn't forget, but I just forgot it was this episode in particular.
Yeah.
But yeah, Leslie has filled her office with balloons and people keep popping out, but you can't tell where they are. And Andy, Tom, her new office mate. Oh my gosh, love that.
I love it. Like, cause you don't know that Andy and April there until they like come out for their lines, which I think is really cool and are really well done. I just really love it. She does say, how many people are in here? And Leslie says 7. And so we know we have April, Andy, Tom, Leslie, Stuart. So I was like, who are the other 2 people? Like Jerry and Donna, maybe? But like nobody else pops out. So I just did some
Andy,
like speculation.
Tom, new office mate, Leslie. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if she's counting Anne. You know?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I speculated a little bit, but
yeah, it would be funny if there were just like random people in there too.
That'd be great.
I want a waffle
poor
explosion.
Stuart. Yeah. And a dance party.
Dance party. I love that so much. It's so clever.
So well done. Yeah, it's great. I really, really love that. And we don't see Anne again in the episode.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's funny.
This is her moment to shine. And then Leslie kind of just...
Well, we see her when she talks to Leslie about not thinking it through about Marlene.
True.
But
I guess I think with the cold open, I was like, this is going to be a thing. Like, but it's more a thing in the next episode. But yeah. So interesting.
So Stuart is the office mate. Love it so much. I love his line, get these fucking balloons out of here. Poor Stuart. This office mate, Stuart, is played by Jim Jansen. You've seen him in so many things. He's been in a lot. He plays the Reverend in Gilmore Girls, which is, I think, what most people would know him from. He was also in Water for Elephants. He has done a ton of short films, one of which he won an award for. Mad Men, The Mentalist, which we also talked about last week. I think The Mentalist has come up quite a bit because it played after Parks, which is really funny. I guess it was just all the same time frame that a lot of these co-stars were in. He was also in Brothers and Sisters, which Rob Lowe was in, so I wonder if they ever worked together. And he was also, side note, the high school principal in the Office episode, where Andy's girlfriend is actually a high schooler.
Good times.
She works at the yogurt shop.
With the watermark. Yeah.
Oh my God, so funny. But I did email back and forth with him. I actually got a lot of responses from a lot of people interested in sending in voice memos, but and I usually I feel like I give them enough time, but sometimes things just get in the way. So he hasn't sent them in yet, but I will probably play that. I haven't decided if I'll play it as a recap or I'll stick it in here somewhere. But if it seems choppy and I put it in now, that's why.
My audition for Parks and Recreation, it was a usual kind of audition in a casting agent's office. I try to learn my lines at that point so I don't have to look at the script. And it was going fine. And then about halfway through, I went completely up. I had no idea what I was supposed to say or who I was or anything. And there was what I felt was a long pause, looking dazed and confused. And then I remembered it. And I went on and finished, and I thought, well, I'll never get that job because I looked like an idiot. And then when I did get the job and read the whole script, I thought, oh, that probably helped because this guy is he doesn't know where he is either. He's, lost. So I think that's how I got the job. Now, let's see. Working on the set was, a lot of fun. Amy and Rashida are great. I have to admit that when I got there, I was kind of starstruck and just kind of, I don't know, sitting by myself and kind of watching. But they were so much fun and so relaxed that in just a matter of minutes, I felt fine, like I belonged on that set. So about hidden in all those balloons, well, that was kind of surreal. Sitting at my desk and they brought all the balloons in and filled up this set with them. And then it was really quiet sitting inside of 400 or 500 balloons. But that, too, was a lot of fun. I thought, well, this is an interesting experience. So No, we weren't there long. In shooting half-hour TV sitcom, you move fast, and they were prepared with everything. They were always well prepared whenever I worked there. So it was fun, though. It was a lot of fun. I look back and think it was a really, really good experience, and I thank them.
Great job to Jim. Love him. He was also in, apparently there's a Gilmore Girls podcast out now.
Really?
Aww. Yeah, apparently there is, because I asked him about doing ours, and he was like, I just did a Gilmore Girls one. Like, I guess podcasts are just really popping off. And I was like, oh, yeah, bud. They're everywhere.
Yeah, they really are. They really, really are. I love Gilmore Girls. I can't watch it unless I'm with my mom, because otherwise I cry.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so now we're in full swing of Leslie and Ben being super secretive, but also not really, because they're talking about office stuff, and also in the wide open in the hallway, they're talking about making out with each other. So,
well, and the way they phrase it with everything, like, makes it like unless you were listening to their conversation, I don't even know if you would catch it.
That's true.
Because they're not saying it affectionately; they're saying it like it's another meeting they have to go to.
Absolutely.
So,
that's true.
which is kind of cool. I also like that we kind of just jump into it here. Like,
totally.
There's no like preamble about the kiss from last episode, or it's just we're thrown into where they've decided their relationship is going to go.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool.
That's a really great point, and so nice, because like we've waited long enough. Okay, let's just talk about it.
Let's go.
Ugh, now the siren is going off. I swear they know when we're recording, Maddie.
I can never hear it.
Okay, you can definitely hear it on the recording. I heard it last time. So
damn.
Anyway, sorry, but also we're going to keep going. Okay.
Yes.
Leslie says the best part of any relationship is the beginning. And I think that's really cute and nice for her to just set this up this way. Also, side note, it's really funny. She mentions like the bubble and how the bubble is like that. We talk about it later, but it's just funny because when this episode came up, I don't know why in my head, maybe it was because the picture on IMDb, but when I heard the bubble, I was like, oh, the bubble is referring to the circle desk.
That's what I thought.
Really?
Yeah. That's funny that we both thought that.
Yeah, because when she mentions the bubble, I was like, oh, right. That's what the episode's referring to.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think I caught that she said the bubble, and that's why it was named the bubble until like my third time watching.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, we'll have to put a vote and see if anyone else had the same thought.
I would love to know. Yeah.
That'd
be great.
So then Ben is saying they should take separate cars tonight because Chris is crazy about this rule, and it's like super sad. But also he has a meeting with Marlene Griggs Nope. And we wonder who that is.
We don't. Ben does.
Yeah. Leslie panics.
And now we're confused.
Right. Oh my gosh, she gets so panicky and she freaks out. She's like, oh, we're not related, just a coincidence. I get it all the time. She's actually Filipino. I thought that was such a random detail. Okay.
Also, he's going to walk in there and immediately know she's not Filipino. So I don't know why that's where you went.
I know.
With your explanation.
She wanted to throw him off as much as possible. She wasn't even thinking.
Yeah. Where are they going tonight? We don't really ever know, huh? They're talking they got to take separate cars. I don't know.
Yeah, there was no deleted scene. I wondered that too. And it also made me wonder, so why didn't you take separate cars to the convention? But whatever.
Yeah, also could have been an option. Yeah.
No, but that wouldn't. I get it though. Why it didn't make sense for them to do that, because it was a long drive and blah blah blah. And now they're actually dating, so now they're really gonna make out. Like it's out in the open.
Yeah. No. I think also if you go that far for your company, I'm pretty sure the government paid for their gas and shit. Like they're not gonna do it for two people.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, no, drive in the same car.
Yeah.
Save us money.
So now this is where Leslie is talking to Anne in Anne's office, and Anne is, being herself with this voice of reason. I really love that line. I think I need to adopt this line to like what I want to say to people instead of just saying nothing, of like, Leslie, I'm sorry, but I don't think you thought this through.
Yeah.
I just love that.
I love it.
It's very kind, but it's also like, what the fuck are you doing?
No, I felt this line was like as a symbol of where our relationship is now, where we will say the honest thing while still being respectful of the other. But I feel like in a lot of my previous relationships, and even in the beginning of ours, maybe like I would have sugarcoated it, or, you know, like, oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings. Like that's kind of just who I am. And it was like, no, it's okay to tell your friend, hey, this isn't rational, in a very sweet, polite way. And she's right. This isn't rational. Leslie, what are you doing? I don't understand. I do like the sentiment, though, that there's no room in here for Chris and my mom right now. I love that.
Definitely.
Because especially in that beginning, you know, the beginning of a relationship, I feel like we're all kind of closed off to hearing what anybody has to say about it, because we're like, I'm still trying to figure out what it is. Like, I don't need other people in here. Right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I also love how far she goes off the deep end of like all these random ass things, and it continues throughout the whole episode getting heightened. Where she's like, Leslie says she should get her mom a ticket to London so they never have to see each other. One-way ticket. One-way ticket. I love this.
Plus, she gets to visit mom.
Right, exactly. She gets to go see London. But then Stuart comes in, and I just love this line of, could you give us 45 minutes instead of 5 minutes? Like, or instead of 2 minutes or whatever, 45 whole minutes, please.
Yeah. And does Anna have that time for you, girl? Like, in the middle of a work day? My goodness. But I love it. I love that. I just love Leslie. I also feel really bad for Stuart, because I'm like, you poor guy, and it's your office too. You're right. And you can't be in there. This has got to be why Anne has an office to herself next time.
Yeah.
He puts a complaint in.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see as we go through, but I actually really love his line of get these fucking balloons out of here at the beginning.
Oh, it's
I
great.
think he did such a good job. And then this like attitude that he has now is really nice too. So I don't know. It might be my fave. I don't know. We'll see.
Love it.
So now Chris is having meetings with everyone in City Hall, and he wants to switch things up, and he thinks everyone is more capable than what they are doing now. And woof, it is
Jerry.
Oh my God.
Says I'm not.
I'm really not. I have some bloopers for this that I wanted to play before we get into the actual scene, because I think it's so funny. And I think I mentioned in the last episode that he had trouble like getting some of his lines out, which I don't know if I combined them, but this one I'll just play it and then we can hear what happens. But it's just really funny to me.
April, you are too valuable to just be Ron's assistant. So, starting now, you are an executive.
Multitasking executive aide.
I told him earlier, and the guy's like a steel trap. So, starting now, you are a multitasking executive assistant. That's not it either, is it? I'm going to get it this time. Multitasking executive aide. So, from now on, you are an executive multitasking aide. Starting now, you are an executive mobile motherfucker goddamn person. So starting now, you are an Alan Yang nightmare phrase. How will you assist the whole office? Because I am replacing your desk with this sporty mobile workstation.
Lagom.
She is interesting.
Fuck me de fuck de fuck.
I have a new Blu-ray player. Plenty of movies that we can watch. Plus, my building has a jacuzzi. And we can have a drink out on the balcony, and I have a new Blu-ray player and plenty of old movies that we can watch. Plus, my building has... I was so close.
It keeps going. There's quite more of that. First, I have a couple things to explain. Number one, that big, huge noise when he says, you know, how will you assist everyone in the office? The whiteboard just falls over because he tries to bring the desk over, the little tiny traveling desk over. And then the last scene is when they are last episode at the restaurant where Chris meets Ben and Leslie, and that's funny. I guess they didn't even get that because it's not in the episode and it's not in the deleted scenes of having the Blu-ray, the way he says Blu-ray and a jacuzzi.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
So anyway, I just thought I would share those little bloopers. That was funny to see.
Yeah, that's great.
All right. So Ron says he's been here before. Like the new city managers always try to shake things up, move things around. It brings everything to a stop. And Ron really enjoys that. So he just sits back with some donuts and enjoys the show.
And he has a legit donut
Oh yeah.
in this scene. I love it.
Yeah.
Very well done.
Yeah. I think it was him and Pratt that are like really eaters. They were talking about Rainn Wilson and Steve Carell did on The Office. Like they were
Right.
actually eating a lot of the things.
Right.
Did you notice on the backboard it says LAGOM?
No.
I was like, what does that stand for? What does that mean? I don't understand. It was on the whiteboard and I was like, maybe it's some sort of, I don't know, like presentation
I wanna Google
thing.
it now.
You said what?
I said I want to Google it now.
Oh.
It's Swedish word for meaning just the right amount, or not too much, not too little, which correlates with
The Swedish thing with the
yes
desk.
that I can't pronounce. Yep.
Oh, I thought it was an acronym.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's what I thought too, because I actually typed it in all caps.
Wow.
And then it came up with a lagom, which is Swedish for not too little, not too much, just right.
Wow. Okay, great job.
That's cool.
Details.
Yeah, wow.
Love that.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Well, he's trying to bring out everybody's good traits, like with Tom's entrepreneurial spirit, but still like proving he doesn't really know his staff because honestly, like that's not entrepreneurial to make Tom do that, to like digitize all of the files. What?
Yeah. This is a part of his job that I feel like he's lacking in, because I feel like he's a good people person, but I don't think he's understanding the actual capabilities of each person, right? He knows they're capable of more, but we learn later that actually Ron has a much better idea of how these people work and what the best positions they work in. So it is interesting to kind of see this, like he's really good at his job and you're like, okay, he's got a purpose here, and he kind of just fucks everything up.
Yeah, it's just his like kind of toxic positivity almost.
Yeah. Oh my
maybe
gosh,
not
that's
toxic,
such a-
but just unknown positivity.
No, but I think that's a good word for it, because there definitely are times where it's toxic.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
true.
And without, he's not, he has no malintent, but it's,
I had to look up what Chronicles of Riddick was because Tom
Me
says
too.
that he basically
Me
that's all
too.
you need to know is that it's a Vin Diesel movie.
correct. And Judi Dench is in it.
Oh yeah, okay.
Which
It's a
is
sci-fi
great.
movie with Vin Diesel
Yeah.
and Judi Dench. So
About
I think
bounty
that's funny
hunters.
that he sold the DVD to get the Blu-ray.
Yeah. That's so weird. A movie from 2004 also.
Okay. Got
so
it.
not like new, but, new enough that he could sell it. I
Yeah.
love that Andy's taking notes.
I know, even though he
Like,
has
if
no
there's
idea
one
what she
person in
just
there-
said.
Yeah. He's the one taking notes. I appreciate that.
It's so funny that he's trying to be detailed, but then he's like, I wasn't paying attention to what you just said we'd be doing, but I will give 110%.
I love this line.
Me
I
too.
really do. Like, this might be my favorite, because he says, I will give it my 110% as soon as you repeat yourself in a much more interesting way.
Right.
Which I think is great. And he's like a kid. Like, honestly, half the time you can't get kids to do work unless you make it like super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
he really is like a kid.
It's just funny to me because I'm like, what are you taking notes on, bro?
Right. If you're not listening.
He's just writing like paintings or pictures or doodling or something.
Yeah. Or like it's like
Song
Harry
lyrics.
Potter, and he's writing. Oh, he could be writing song lyrics. I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
In Harry Potter, when he's just like writing the date and he's like starting to get his paper ready and just
Right.
He's
That's
still 3 minutes behind.
Right. Right. You're right.
But why is Leslie not here?
I don't know. I guess it's because it's a whole city manager thing and Ron's technically the boss. So I don't know.
Yeah, but the whole office is there except for Leslie.
Yeah, I guess they haven't
know?
given. I get maybe Chris thinks that Leslie doesn't need to change anything. I don't know.
I mean, it could be. I
I
would
didn't
have
even
been
think
very
twice about it.
intrigued. Yeah, I would have been very intrigued to see what he would have asked Leslie to change.
Yeah, I feel like there's nothing to change.
I know. Maybe
But-
that is what it is.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. Also, I was wondering, they don't really explain it, like, because he says for only 3 weeks, then back to shoes. And I'm like, wonder what that whole timeline is. Like, why is that? Is everything for only 3 weeks or just the digitizing? Like, is that how long it's going to take? You know what I mean?
I think it's the digitizing that's going to
Okay.
take 3 weeks. That he's timed it out like that.
Okay.
That's really what I thought, because I don't think if he had put a timeline on everybody's, it doesn't seem like he would have done that, because I
Yeah.
think he assumed everything would work.
Okay. Well, now Leslie's coming clean about her mom, and she spills coffee on Ben, gets him all panicked, and tells her that it's actually, she can be kind of a bully. And oh my God, I can't imagine. That is so awful, going into a meeting with that like chaos and anxiety right before. Yikes.
I would have told him after. I would have been like, you know what, you're right. I do have to tell him, but he's already going in there. And I'm not going to have enough time for him to process this, so I'm going to wait. But she's like, I got to tell him before he goes. And so it's just a shit show.
Which I think is the total, I guess, epitome of what her mindset in this episode is. She's not thinking through anything. She's just like, oh, okay, I have to tell him this. Or no, wait, I have to do that. She's not thinking through anything, as Anne says. She's just saying things.
Yeah. No impulse control.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. And the meeting is so terrible. He just caves and gives her the school buses that she needs. I'm Mr. Ben Wyatt.
Which is so not Ben. Like, I think what I wrote here is that he's trying to be Chris and Ben at the same time.
Yeah.
Because he does say that, of course we'll give it to you. Actually, no, we can't. And like, he can't find the balance in himself because he's so rattled.
Yeah. That's so interesting.
It's
And
fascinating.
Pamela Reed comes back and we love her. She's perfect as Marlene. I love her so much.
Oh, she is. She's absolutely perfect as Marlene. Do you notice that the coffee stain is like completely dried and like not splattered? It's one like big chunk of coffee stain on his shirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and he was supposedly it was just spilled on him.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I could see it being one big splotch, but it being dried and everything is probably not great.
Yeah. Oh, well. So.
Ron comes in with more donuts and sees this circle desk. I wonder if
Dunkies.
I wonder if Duncan had to be cleared because it's not generic,
No.
So that was interesting.
That's a great question. Yeah.
I'm sure it did. Okay, this is where the Swedish name of Jämställdhet comes back.
Sorry. I just remembered that Meg Schur went to Harvard, right?
Uh-huh.
I bet you that's why he chose Dunkies over like
maybe.
Krispy Kreme or something. Maybe it was a little nod to Boston.
Maybe. Could be.
Sorry, my heart's trying to find sentimental things because I love Dunkies.
I know. People are going to hate me. Love their donuts, can't deal with the coffee. Sorry.
It's really inconsistent. So the way we say it is it's not Dunkies if you're not sure it's going to be hot or not.
Or just water.
It's just, or just water. Yeah, some days the coffee's really good and then sometimes it's just really not.
Yeah.
But I think it's the sentimental piece of it for me.
Yeah, totally. So. That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the Swedish name of Jämställdhet, or equality, this is a real word that Chris uses, like we talked about for the lagom, I guess, that we found. This is for gender equality. So I'm not really sure how the desk relates to it. I guess maybe just equality for all the townspeople, like, because this technically, the online, it says valuing different behaviors, aspirations, and needs equally, regardless of gender.
Yeah, so that's what I found too, was most of it was gender stuff. So I was thinking like Chris was just kind of shifting it to just be overall equality, because I think to him it was also putting Ron on the same playing field as the rest of the department. They're all out there, except for Leslie now, but they're all out there in that like open space. So it was like, okay, now everybody has the opportunity to talk to Ron, but also he's on the same playing field as everyone else, which it does not work for Ronald. So I don't know why we're here, but it is what it is, and it's funny. So
yeah. I could see that too. I think both of those things are true. Like Ron being equal, and the way I saw it more was like you said, with the townspeople, like everyone is equal. Everyone has a chance to talk to their officials, Yeah.
So that which I like. I love Donna's face.
Oh my God, it's so good. I wrote
so
that too.
Annoyed.
Every time Chris talks, she's just like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, she's over it.
Oh my God. Apparently this desk was also really hard to shoot and like be with the angles of how to capture all of it. It's really funny.
I bet. Yeah, that's got to be difficult. There's also a plant that's not usually there, and a little
the water thing.
One of the
saw that
little
too.
water things. Very cool. Which is interesting that we're going with all these Swedish words when Chris gives off a much more like Japanese yin yang vibe. So, and that's kind of what I got from the flower, or the plant and the water thing. So it's interesting that we have all these Swedish words when it's
I honestly
Japanese.
see Chris as just being more like taking things from every culture that like vibes with
That's fair.
equality and like, feeling, anthropologic. What's that word? You know what I mean? Or and philanthropic. You know what I mean? Like all the good words. Like I just feel like he takes things from every culture that is going to serve what he thinks is best, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Because he does talk about like feng shui when he was dating Anne, as far as, like clearing the chakras of her house and all that stuff. So that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm at the 4th floor if you are.
Yes, I also just love this line from Ron that he loved that pillar. It made it very uncomfortable to stand in my doorway.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, my gosh. That is such a slap in the face to Ron to have his sacred office space with so many rando townspeople like playing darts and just being in there.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I'm wondering if the pillar, because the pillar's gone, like I want to pay attention to if the pillar comes back. Like, do they put the pillar back? Or just he gets to go back in his office. So
I couldn't tell you, to be honest. So yeah, we'll definitely have to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, so
floor.
yeah, now we're at the 4th floor. It's creepy and weird and awful, and we get to our favorite gal, Ethel Beavers.
I love it, Ethel.
Yay! Rest in peace.
Tom says that it's freezing and humid at the same time, and I'm like, that's a thing. That's how snow happens. But I guess he means inside, which could be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm gonna do a tiny little deep dive on Ethel Beavers.
Please
Her
do.
name is Helen Slayton-Hughes, and she sadly passed away last year. It was just last year, so she's stuck with us for a very long time. Aubrey Plaza and Adam Scott together posted about her. They both had posts about how great she was and how wonderful it was to act with her. What a treasure and a treat that she was, especially in this role. I looked her up, and apparently she was born in New Jersey, and she is part of a whole family of performers. In fact, one of her cousins first removed is Peter Dinklage. So
okay,
that's a thing.
I've never known what that means.
First removed. I know. See, I'm wondering if like they got divorced and then like they're not technically cousins. Like, is it through marriage?
It could be through marriage.
You know what I mean?
That's always what I thought it was, but I've never known.
We'll Google it.
Yeah.
Her whole family was in theater shows, musicals. Her uncle was in the Ringling Brothers Circus. So that's pretty cool. She got a bachelor's from Syracuse University and a master's in communication from RPI, which I don't know how to pronounce this. It's really wild. Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. Anyway. She spent 40 years doing community theater and regional theater, and then she was cast in a San Francisco show called Nash Bridges. And then she moved to LA. Nash Bridges was a TV show. And then she moved to LA. At 70 years old is when she moved there, and then she started acting in film and TV.
What?
Yeah. So she was doing all this
dedication.
like amazing theater and like, you know, smaller parts, I think, in like the San Francisco area, at least according to her bio. And yeah, she just moved to LA. She was like, let me see if I can do this. And she wrote a 1-act opera called Rachel, the Innkeeper's Daughter, which was produced at St. John Eudes, I don't know how to pronounce these things, school in Chatsworth, which is in California. But she was also in Rutherford Falls, which is the Peacock show with Ed Helms, Moxie, which is Amy Poehler's movie. If you haven't seen it, see it immediately. She was also in Fresh Off the Boat, The Middle. I mean, so many wonderful things. And obviously she was just perfect as Ethel, and we just love her so much. So I'm so excited that we are getting to talk about her.
And she comes back. She's great.
She comes back quite a few times. Yeah, we love her.
She's part of some big stuff, too. I love it. She's awesome.
All right. So, anyway, now she's showing Tom and Andy to this awful room. And Andy, I love how Andy is just so excited and Tom is so disgusted. They're the complete opposite of each other here.
Well, yeah, I think Tom sees it's different. I feel like Tom sees himself going somewhere big, right? And he sees himself hanging out with celebrities and being in these really fancy nightclubs. And Andy says it the perfect way. Like he was homeless a year ago, right?
Yeah.
He was living in the pit. So he has this like, my life could be so much fucking worse view. Right. So it's just it's really cool. And I mean, Andy is always typically a little bit more optimistic than most other characters, but I think he just has, this really humble, realistic view of where he could be if he hadn't been given all these opportunities. So
he definitely has a different perspective for sure.
Yeah.
I looked up what cousin first removed means.
Oh, thanks.
Basically, it says that it's a generation above or below you. For example, it says, or no, wait. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't know. That's so crazy.
So like my mom's cousin, but that I've always called her my second cousin.
Yeah, that's what I always say. Let's see. Why second cousin once removed? A second cousin once removed is either the great-great-grandchild of your great-grandparent or the I can't.
My brain. I can't follow that.
You're separated by one generation, and the closest common ancestor you have is a great-grandparent. I don't know. Basically, they're generations removed from you. So that's what it says. I don't understand it, but if anyone else understands, just let me know.
Yeah. Explain it better than Google just did, please.
Yeah. Yeah, it just says to be once removed from a cousin means you're separated by one generation. The number before removed will always represent the number of generations you are separated from the cousin. That's so interesting. So maybe it does mean that.
Yeah. But then why would you have a second cousin first removed?
Or maybe, yeah, or like maybe my great aunt is technically my aunt removed. I don't know.
Hey, Aunt Removed, how are you doing today?
That's so weird.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's weird.
whatever. Basically, they're just different generations. Let's just leave it at that. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
There is a deleted scene here going back to Tom and Andy's situation where Tom tries to find a better office and walks around, and there's this montage of all the awful things in the fourth floor, and he opens a door. There's an old lady taking off her wig. It's kind of terrifying. She's like really skinny and like looks like bones and skin. There's also a room that he opens with just mannequins that are super creepy. Like the whole room is filled with mannequins and the lights flickering. And then a crow randomly appears. Oh my God, it's so nasty and creepy. And it was really illustrative of how like weird everything is. Also, technically, I love that technically Ethel says this is a crime scene, so don't move anything around.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love her line also of when Tom says he's not going to wear the name tag, and she's like, do what you want.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, she really does not care. I also love Andy remind Tom, ask something.
I know. That's
Good
so
job,
good.
man.
Again, taking notes but not knowing anything about what he's doing.
Correct. Yeah, I would love to see Andy Dwyer's notebook.
Me too. Oh my God.
There's like a lot of old fax machines, those old like photo boxes with no labels. So who the fuck knows what's in those things?
Yeah.
And there's a turned over chair on the desk behind Andy.
Oh.
And very, like he said, very old ass computers. So I couldn't really see anything else that I found of interest other than like a bunch of boxes being around. But
yeah,
interesting that there's like old technology in there and stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did a really good job of making it look very cluttered and like creepy and weird and old and awful.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm at where Leslie goes into Ben's office, if you are.
Yeah, I think she, again, this impulsive, like, I want to talk about these fun things and not talk about this awful stuff. So let's talk about the fact that I only gave you 5 Sarah McLachlan songs this time.
Right. Yeah. So she's trying to like smooth things over, and she says she made another mixtape for him, but only put 5 Sarah McLachlan songs on there. And she explains why she did what she did. And Ben obviously explains that he gets so flustered. So the meeting went terrible. And Leslie's like, I'm sure it was fine. She probably loved you. And it's obviously it's not. Also, I wanted to mention that line of Ben taking off his shoes and holding them in his hand was apparently an inside joke in the writer's room, referring back to when Ron took his shoes off at April's house and just held them in his hand. Because Nick Offerman apparently made that choice as an actor. Like, no one told him, just hold your shoes in your hand. He just left his shoes in his hand.
That's really cool. I like that.
I know. It's a nice little callback.
Yeah. I feel like in Leslie, this is what's coming to my brain right now that we're kind of getting here is like, she's so anxious about losing this happy bubble that she's almost pushing them out of it.
Interesting.
You know, like her choices, and they're not getting to enjoy, you know, she's causing so much stress on the relationship because she's worried about the bubble.
Right. Yeah, and she's never been in this situation before, it sounds like. So she's just she's flopping all over the place.
Yeah.
But
her intentions are good.
Yes.
But yeah, she's just,
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, then she talks to her mom and, kind of checking in to see how the meeting went and seeing if Marlene actually did love or hate or whatever him. And she says she loved him, but then Ben was such a pushover, and that's what Marlene loves about him. And Leslie gets super offended. I love that line, or the reading of how Amy said, "No reason," like with a smile, like, because Marlene's like, "Why do you ask?" Ugh.
Yeah, I have a note here because I just remember in the first couple episodes that Marlene was in Parks and Rec, that it was like, we didn't necessarily like the way she talked to Leslie or how the relationship was. And this episode makes me really happy about like where they're at. Like the fact that Leslie feels like she can go talk to her mom about this. Later, she brings her coffee and I like when Marlene's like, "Excuse me, I'm enjoying my daughter right now." Basically, that's when I hear that, like, I'm having coffee with my daughter. That's like, I'm wanting to give her my 100%. And I just love this shift of this relationship. And funny that we mentioned Ben's parents earlier. Like, we get to see a little bit more of a step into that in that episode too, which I love, because I feel like I was really sad in the beginning when it was like, oh, Marlene's being like rude, and so this is cool to see.
You kind of forget that she was such a hard ass.
100%.
Like to Leslie particularly.
Yeah, I think the reason I remember is because we analyzed it in the podcast.
Totally.
And now I'm sitting here like, oh my gosh, it was like 6 months ago that we were talking about how shitty she was being.
Yeah. I will say that when she says that line of like, I'm enjoying like having coffee with my daughter, I feel like 20% of that is like, I have to show this guy how like not important he is. And it wasn't all 100% like, I need to be with my daughter. Although maybe it was, I don't know. This is the way I read it, but no, it's still very sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, so now Ben is worried that Marlene's going to tell everyone that he's a pushover, and Leslie says, "That's no problem, because when I first met you, I thought you were a fascist hard ass," which is so true.
Cute.
A cute fascist hard ass.
Yeah, it's almost like, I don't know if it's Pawnee or Leslie is like doled him out, or kind of like we were talking about earlier, like he doesn't partner with Chris on everything now, so he's kind of balanced. He's trying to balance himself out because he's not as much of a hard ass as he was when he first came.
I just don't think that we see him because being a hard ass, because he hasn't like he hasn't had any situations that we've seen. The audience hasn't seen him reacting to any other departments. You know what I mean? So I don't.
That'd be cool to see.
Yeah. So I think he still is a hard ass in my, like, as an audience member. I think he still is a hard ass, but with Leslie, he doesn't know which way is up or down because of this whole Marlene situation.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it would be cool to see him interacting with other people and seeing how he's still a hard ass. No, I do agree that you're right as far as, he's probably like lessening, especially after the last episode with him saying Pawnee is special, but I still think he has an edge,
Yeah. No, I agree. I think you're right. That's a good way to look at it. Like, we're not getting to see the full scope of his position.
Mm-hmm. So this gal comes in and says that the education department is now requesting 10 buses because he's a pushover. So they're going to try to take him for all they can. And this gal who hands Ben the paper with this request is named Tammy Diadio, and she was an assistant to Morgan Sackett at the time, who was a producer on the show. So it's really cool. And she's also a producer herself, and she was additional crew in a lot of things, but she worked very closely with a lot of the parks crew. So that's really cool that she got to come on. She was also assistant to the producers, in The Mentalist, which is wild. Again, that's coming up. Californication, Criminal Minds, Rent, as an assistant. And then she was a production assistant as well, and an associate producer on The Good Wife and Brain Dead, which is a show that I wasn't familiar with before I looked at IMDb. But yeah, this is the only thing that she acted in, apparently. So I'm guessing it's kind of like The Office and Parks, where they kind of come in for a one-off situation if they're part of the crew. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see that little Easter egg. That's awesome. I thought she did great.
That is cool. Yeah. No, yeah, I loved it. And now it's chaos.
Yeah, now it's chaos. Ben's like, tell me everything there is to know about her, and we are going to have it out. And then again, this is where we go even further, where Leslie suggests, let's go to Belize and go scuba diving and look at the whale sharks.
Yeah, because that's better than us handling our problems.
You're certified, right? Let's get you certified.
Yes, and I love this callback because Leslie's already certified because she talks about a bad date with the Bens.
With the Bens. And whale sharks is what, the only reason I know this is because I swam with whale sharks, because I remember Justin talking in the other episodes, talking about how he swam with the whale sharks in Madagascar.
Yeah. Great times.
So, lots of callbacks here.
Oh, yeah. Good times.
This is where we're back in the parks department, if you are.
Yes.
And people are playing with Ron's dartboard, which is awful. Ron is so over it and
So
mad.
mad.
Oh my God, his face is awful. Jerry's asking April for the usage report, and she's being so obnoxious, and everything's falling apart, and it's just terrible. And then our famous lady with the sun tea comes in.
Yes. She's also the snail lady, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's the snail lady. She's also, this is her second appearance. The first appearance is the one where she was at a city hall saying, like, all I eat is lasagna and muffins all day, and I feel awful, so we're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything's fine.
But just as a recap for those that I'm sure remember, but just to explain a little bit more, she says that there is a sign in one of their parks that says that the sprinkler water is like, do not drink the sprinkler water. But so she made sun tea with it, completely oblivious to the sign, and saying now she has an infection, and she jogs around the circle, and Ron just keeps swiveling because he doesn't want to look at her or talk to her. And it is just so funny. I love that line. Are you listening, sir? Sir, excuse me. I'm talking to you.
This whole situation.
It's so good.
It's so well done because it is a very like Pawnee complaint that we see throughout the series. But it's also like not a rational complaint.
Yeah.
But it's also not a rational response from Ron. Because he's...
Oh my God, Nick Offerman's
he runs the
perfect
department.
in this. Like, keeping his face so blank, but yet so angry at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh
man,
God.
I would have words with that lady. Okay, so let's back up. What did the sign say? Okay.
Right.
So why did we think it was okay to make tea with it?
Also, I think
just
I'm
can't.
Like, visually, I'm imagining, she said sprinkler water, so I'm imagining a sprinkler is going off watering the lawn, and she's like putting a pitcher over the sprinkler to get the water. What?
I didn't even think about that. That's hilarious.
That image is just so funny because she just totally would be the person to do that. Like,
yeah,
it's just so funny.
Yeah.
In the first episode that she was in, I did look her up, and I couldn't find any information on her. But I will say that her name, as a reminder, is Sarah Von Horn. Like I said, it was in the Sweetums episode that she was in last, in that town hall. But she's in 6 episodes total. Like you said, she does come back. But she was in Runaways, Grace and Frankie, Grey's Anatomy, Scandal. She's been in a lot of big stuff. But the last thing, I don't think, maybe I said this in the last episode, but I didn't remember that the last thing on IMDb that she did was in 2018. So I don't know. But it was funny, and I loved it. And I'm glad she comes back.
Yeah, that was good. Good stuff.
So Leslie's now trying to teach Ben about Marlene. It's not a meeting, it's a battle.
Yes.
Yikes.
Which
Hello.
I'm
Wrong.
inaccurate. Yeah.
Is the sound in dumb. And now you've
I
crossed your
love
legs
that
like
line.
a woman.
This is all like, it also gives you like a vision into how Leslie was raised.
I thought that too. It's wild.
Yeah. Like you don't really think a lot of like what made her who she is. And this is like, okay, this is the lady who raised her.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it's very interesting to see like she knows all this stuff like because her mom was like kind of a hard ass herself.
Yeah. Totally.
So,
oh my gosh, every time I say now, I'm going to think of that because of that line. I wasn't thinking about it before, but I am now. All right, so Leslie gives Ben a list of 100 conversation topics. I had to look up what Deliverance the movie is, to be honest. I feel like I look it up every single time because I'm just not sure, and I've never seen it. Have you seen it?
No, I have not.
Okay, well, For the rest of us that haven't seen it, it's a 1972 movie where a group of guys go to escape their wives and jobs and go for a week of canoeing in rural Georgia. And apparently, when they get to where they're going, they are not welcomed by the locals. In fact, they are attacked. And when they're ambushed by the people and rapids trying to get home, it becomes a story about survival. And that's very fascinating to me. I guess it seems very like war, survival, competition, very, hardcore. So maybe that is in line with Marlene. I don't know.
It could be. I have no idea.
But it's also from the 70s. So that was around probably the time that she was like growing up and stuff too. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm getting like flashbacks from the fight when Leslie gives Anne all that shit to memorize.
Oh,
and she's
that's
like,
funny.
you have 5 minutes.
That's funny. That's true. I mean, yes, great character building for Leslie.
Yeah.
Or character maintenance, I guess I should say, because we already know what her character is.
Yeah.
All right. So April is now visiting Tom and Andy upstairs. I like that she took her walking desk thing, even though she probably didn't need to.
Yeah. I do too. I really liked that.
Yeah.
Nice follow through there.
Then this random guy comes in asking if it's Mort Jansen's office and smashes a coffee pot as a threat, saying, "Tell Mort it's his move." What?
Yeah, what? Also, they told you this isn't Mort's office. What are you doing?
Yeah, seriously. I guess he's
Sir.
like,
Rude.
I'm sure he's thinking that they're covering for Mort.
Yeah. It's so well acted by that guy, too.
Oh my gosh. So this guy's name is Dana Gould. He's a famous stand-up, which I'm sorry, Dana. I did not know that. But I definitely recognize his face. He actually messaged me back too. And I'm really trying to get him on as a full episode interview because he was a writer in season 2 and a producer for the show. He's also friends with Greg Daniels. He was a part of the crew that won 2 Emmys for The Simpsons for Outstanding Animated Program. So, I mean, he also plays additional voices on The Simpsons as well. So, and he's been in a ton of stuff as an actor too, like Seinfeld and things like that. But he's a pretty big stand-up. He has a bunch of specials. So I hope that I messaged him back and was like, "Would you want to come on for an interview?" Because he was like, he was really fast in the first message. I messaged him. Or no, I think I messaged his agents or something, and then he messaged me directly and was like, "Hey, I'd love to chat. Okay, bye." And I was like, "Oh my God."
Okay.
So then I messaged him.
Awesome.
So hopefully he can come on for a full interview because I've always wanted to know, because technically I think his IMDb credited position as a producer is like consulting producer, and I've always said that I really want to know what the F every certain producer
all these different
is.
Producers are. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and also I would love to talk to a writer we haven't talked to a writer yet. So I would love to talk to a writer.
It'd be so cool.
So hopefully, Dana, if you're listening or if you hear me, hello, I'll message you. I'm very good at messaging people back and just not giving an F. So we'll get him. Hopefully. Maybe.
Yes.
I don't know.
It'll happen. But
also, I haven't heard. I'm really sad because I haven't heard from Jessica St. Clair. She I tagged her in the road trip episode and she liked it. Like she hearted it. But I don't know that she saw the message because it's not saying that she saw the message. So, and there's no agent emails on hers because she's fancy, obviously. But I don't know.
Right.
I'm sad. I want her to message me that.
I know. That'd be great. That'd be awesome.
It's all right. But anyway, yes, Dana Gould. Did you have anything else to say?
Yeah, Dana does a great job with the crazy eyes, man.
Oh, totally.
That's
and
what it is.
Weird smile.
Yeah, you're looking at him and you're like, what the fuck did you do? And what did this other guy do?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Just and the staring right at them when he breaks the coffee pot.
My question is, I want to know. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I love that April's like, I want to work up here now. This is awesome.
Yeah, April loves it. And Tom is terrified. I love seeing all these differences in each of these characters, like how they react to each of these situations.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, my question was about Dana smashing the coffee pot. I really want to ask him, or I guess I could ask anybody of our crew, I suppose, but I really want to ask him, like, was that like a plexiglass situation? Like, was it actual glass? And then they were like, don't step on it because they don't show their feet. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure it's not real glass because that would probably be a safety hazard, but you know what I mean? I'm very curious.
Yeah. Fascinating.
So we'll see.
Good.
So now Tom is trying to schmooze these old ladies. really just Ethel at this point. Everything goes straight over Ethel's head. I love that. Like, nobody called. I didn't get a missed call.
Yeah, she does not care. You were barking up the wrong tree. She has been sleeping with Mayor Gunderson and does not need you.
Oh, okay? Right, exactly. I love that. Oh, my God. Did you notice that they have a bottle of antacid, just like a generic antacid on her desk?
Oh, no, that's great.
Great detail.
That's awesome. I love it. I'm upset that this is what Tom's doing because he doesn't want to do it. He's like, how can I get out of it? Like, which again, I think it's such a child response. And when he has this run-in with Chris, I have a lot more feelings and thoughts about all this. But I'm also really pissed off at him because before he even asks Ethel for like this, you getting out of this, basically, like Andy is working and he's like, how much left do we have? And he's like, well, the rest of this box and everything else. Fucking help him, bro.
Yeah.
Like, Andy's doing all this work, like, and he's got this positive attitude. Like, it would go much faster if you stepped up and helped. I know you don't want to do it, but we all have stuff that's part of our jobs that we don't like doing sometimes, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Oh my God. This is going to sound so awful and stupid. I related really hard to Tom in this moment, though, which I'm not negating what you're saying because you're 100% right that he shouldn't be like a little bitch and just be like whatever. But I'm a little bitch about a lot of stuff.
Andy. That's
at least help Andy.
That's the biggest thing that bothers me is that he's asking Andy where they're at in the process. And it's like...
That's true.
That's
like, so
what
how much are
bothers
you
me the
going
most.
to do before I get out of here? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Sorry,
I hear you for sure.
Continue, because valid.
No, I'm just like, I am so, like, when people don't ask me to be the receptionist anymore when our receptionist is out, and thank the Lord Jesus, because when I related to this with like filing and also answering phones. I don't know what it is. I can't do it anymore. It's like Pam being the receptionist. I will answer the phone in my own office while I'm doing my work every now and again, but I think it's because I've been a receptionist for so fucking long that I'm just like, I can't stand it. And people notice it too. Like, my whole attitude changes. I try as hard as I can to not, but my whole mind is like, I don't want to do this. I have been berated enough as a receptionist. I will not do this again. And I just don't have the capacity anymore for it. And I think that that's why I related to Tom, because Tom's like, which Tom is not on my level in the sense, like, we're not on the same page, I guess, in the sense where like he's worked his hardest at everything and like trying to move up, but like still there is a parallel where he's like, I have done X, Y, and Z. This was supposed to be the thing that gets to the next thing. I can't go backwards. This is going backwards. Why would I ever do this? And so like, what you were saying, though, is better, which that should have been his first thing, I think, is going to Chris and being like, hey, buddy. We need to talk about this. You know what I mean? Which, again, when we get there, we'll get there. But that's what I felt throughout the whole thing. But yes, being like, acting like Andy's his little work dog is weird.
Yeah, no, I think that puts that in perspective for me too, because even though the Andy piece is big for me, it was also just like, dude, this is part of your job. But I think you make a good point. Like, he's business liaison or something, right? Like, so no, it's actually not. That's a really good point. Like, he's just been tasked with this side job, basically. Yeah. And it's not what he signed up for.
Yeah. And this is, again, just pointing back to Chris not knowing his crew yet, where it just feels like such a slap in the face to go backwards and, like, put me in a dark room where I don't belong, you know? So, Andy
and like Ron brings up later, this is way more Jerry's.
Right.
Jerry would thrive in this environment.
Oh, Jerry, that's such a good point. I didn't even think about that. Oh my God, he's so good at filing.
Yeah. Yeah, yes, and Andy and Jerry are both the right amount of positivity, like that they would have been fine up there together.
That's actually so interesting. I never thought about that each of these tasks can be
should
done.
Have gone to someone else.
But they should have been flipped. Oh my God.
Yeah,
like Tom should have had Jerry's job. Jerry should have had 100%. Tom's. Oh, wow. Yeah. Andy could have been maybe, I don't know if Andy could have been
I think Andy's in the right position.
Yeah, but I don't even, it's funny because Andy, I'm almost like, maybe he's in the right position if Jerry's with him. To like double check the work.
Yeah, fair.
But anyway, Donna could have been in April's, but still that's bad because Donna would not be caught dead with that traveling nurse station thing. Computer.
The IV station is what she calls it.
Right. Okay, anyway, that was an interesting tangent. What a way to think about that. Okay, all right, this is what we do here.
Yes.
Anyway, back to Ethel and Tom talking. I love that Tom says, I'm going to go like jump out a window and plummet to my death. And Ethel's like, okay.
I love it.
Love this next little character relationship moment of Donna telling Ron, like, yo, do something about your boy because this will not work. Like, he's not like other city managers, because Ron's like, this will pass, whatever. And Donna's like, he's not going to give up. And I love that Donna has no qualms about standing up and like talking back to him, even though he's her boss.
Yeah, but I think they have that relationship.
Yeah,
and I think Ron kind of creates that environment, because a lot of most of those people, other than Jerry, will challenge Ron. And I think that's a beautiful thing to create as a leader, because if your staff is afraid of you and is afraid of coming to you with these kinds of things, I don't think you're doing your job.
Yeah. And it's a little bit of both, because Ron doesn't really necessarily care as much as you would like think a boss would, but he has his moments, as we know, but also Donna's personality. So it's both, you know. Donna's not gonna like let this stand. And to be fair, Donna has, I don't know if they've been there the same amount of time, but Donna's been there a long time. Like, she knows what's up, you know. Like, she gets her job, she gets this position, she knows what the fuck she's doing, and she knows that Chris is different. So I love that she has that moment of like, Ron, you have to do something because you're technically the boss. You know what I mean?
Right. And validating him, like, yes, you're right. Most of the times this washes over, but this is Chris. Yeah. And he's different. So I really like that.
Have you seen those? Oh, go ahead.
I think we're going on the same route here. Yeah, it's real.
Yeah, I was
it's not a prop.
Ask that. Like, have you seen those? I have seen them before. Some of my friends who work from home, I've seen like little pictures of it. Or like,
how?
Yeah, I don't know. And they also make keyboards where your left hand goes on one side, like it's cut down the middle. The keyboard is like cut down the middle, and they're two separate pieces, and like your left hand goes on one side and your right hand goes on the other side. And I think the one that Donna has might be similar in the sense where you're supposed to, like, it's hard to say this on an audio medium, but basically your wrists are not supposed to be like straight up, because that's not how they are. They're supposed to be like, your arms are like at an angle, kind of, if I can say. And so like you're supposed to be, you would be typing like this as opposed to like this, you know, where your wrists are always in that like awkward,
your hands are forward,
position.
Your hands are actually like facing each other.
Exactly. So if they were like this, it's comfortable / not so hard on your body and whatever. So, but it's wild. Like, I'm sure you'd have to get so used to that.
Yeah, that's uncomfortable. It's $275 also, by the way.
Nope.
Looked it up. Gross.
Bye.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, I thought that was interesting, because I thought it would have been a prop that they just created it. I wonder if they found it one day and they're like, how can we work this into an episode?
Oh, interesting. Yes, totally. Maybe they use it in Sweden a lot. Who knows?
Ooh. Could be.
Anyways, okay, yes. I'm glad that we were on the same page. Leslie's now talking to Marlene. She brings her a coffee by, trying to get her in a good mood. I love that
calls
she says
her mommy.
I know, that's exactly what I was going to say. She calls her mommy. So precious.
It is. And also, I think if Marlene was tuned into it, she'd be like, all right, what does Leslie want?
Yes.
You know, because as an adult, if I call my mom Mama, like that's what I call her when I talk to her. But if I say Mommy, I think she's like, okay, what does she need?
Going
you
on?
Know? Yeah.
I honestly, this is going to sound crazy, I guess, but I still call my mom Mommy sometimes. Like,
which I think is
I don't know,
precious and perfect. I think if that's what you call her, that's what you call her.
Relationship.
Right. But I think
mine would be the opposite. Mine would be mother. Mine would be like, hello, mother.
Yeah. See, but that's what it is. I think if mommy is what you call her all the time, that's not going to set a red flag. That's who she is to you. But if you don't call her that, then mommy kind of comes across as like, all right,
what's going on?
Yeah, we're coming in with the sweet words now.
Love that.
Know? Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, Ben just walks in and does everything Leslie said to do. He's confident. He's ready. He just sits down.
I love that they set it up for Leslie to be there, kind of like a moral support.
Me too. Yeah. Me too. Well, we cut from that, and then we go to Chris talking to this random person on the 4th floor, having this incredibly deep moment, and he has no idea who she is.
Is
which
it
I
the
love.
4th floor?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I thought that Tom went down to the main floor is what it looked like, because it doesn't look as dark and gross.
Oh. Okay. Maybe you're right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Floor.
I should go. Yeah, I would go back and look at it. I want to go back and look at it now, because the way it looked and everything, although the fact that there's a girl crying.
That's what
could
tipped
also
me off. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
she's like going through something, and that's what it is. But you're right. Why would Chris be on the 4th floor unless like maybe they had scheduled a meeting? I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, we'll
Let's
have
go
to
back and look at it.
Yeah. Great call.
But-
Yeah, that's the only reason I thought it was on the 4th floor, because it was like this random person.
Well, and that would make more sense to me because I literally have, why is this even in this episode? Unless he's on the 4th floor, maybe that would make more sense. That's what's brought him there, right? But I'm kind of like, we all know Chris is a really cool guy and he's really helpful. Like, I don't feel like we needed this.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, this actor's name who played this lady is named Yolanda Snowball. She has been in Easy A. My name is Earl. I know Snowball.
Love it.
That's her last name. That's what it says on IMDb anyway. So good for you, Yolanda. She was also in Danger Force, which is a Nickelodeon show, like a superhero type show, which is really cute. I looked at the pictures and they look cool. She was also in Jane the Virgin, a ton of stuff. I thought she did a great job, like regardless of if the scene was like needed or not to set up Chris's life. Like, she rocked it with this whole crying thing. There's no hope.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, I think she was great.
But back to what we were talking about earlier, this is where Tom doesn't want to work in the 4th floor, so he's trying to talk to Chris to stop working there. I love his line of, I tend to work best with young, attractive people.
Yeah.
So dumb.
Yeah. I have multiple thoughts here because I think obviously, as in most situations, they both kind of need to shift. Because I don't like that Chris doesn't really give him a chance to explain. Chris kind of is just like, this is what I've decided. This is what's happening. Like, deal with it.
Yeah.
And I think Tom has a real reason for not wanting to be down there and for being upset. But there's not like a real conversation around it. So I feel like Chris drops the ball there a little bit.
Yeah, Chris doesn't. Yeah, I agree. Chris is more just like, well, I set this precedent, so that's the end of that.
Right. He even makes it sound like I made you a project leader.
Right.
Like a project leader over Andy, like the shoe shiner.
Yeah.
Bro. You know, it kind of like, I can understand Tom being upset by that.
Yeah.
But I also
oh, go ahead.
I also want Tom to come with more information. Not I work with young attractive people. Like that's not going to get you anywhere. Like come you have a valid thing going, right? If you're unhappy down there, come with a valid, I'm not going to be up there for 3 weeks, bro, because of this, and this, you know?
That's so true. Yeah, so. I mean, I guess from a leader like ish perspective kind of thing, it could be difficult to like budge on things because like you wanted something to go a certain way and you want your team to like at least give it some time. And I guess it's been like what, 2 days maybe, if that.
2 days because Ben and Leslie are in new clothes.
That's right. So yeah, it's tricky, but yeah, if this was real life, I would hope that both of them would have like more information and like presenting a solution. Like Tom should hopefully come with a solution in mind, kind of thing.
Right. Well, and I would at least prefer for Chris to say, "Hey, I hear you. Give it to the end of the week. I don't feel like you've given it enough time."
That's a good
right.
Idea. Instead of
I'm
I
happy
can't move
about
on this,
that.
bye.
Right. Yeah, which is how it feels.
Right.
And if he was my boss, I'd be like, well, and I've been in this situation, right? Hey, get me off this team. I'm hurt. And it's been like, sucks to suck. Peace out.
Right.
Like you don't feel heard or respected by your boss if that's just kind of how it's handled. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It is
well,
what it is. I love this line. I don't know if it's my favorite. I have 2 lines highlighted.
Okay.
But I love, let your brain unlock the door to your heart's future.
Oh.
Which sounds like absolute nonsense. But if you really think about it, it's true. Like a lot of times our hearts are guarding us one place and our brain is rationalizing why we can't. So I actually really love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I like it too. I really do. It sounds like something that oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say it sounded like something that would be like on the side of a tea thing, like when Andy says the lemonade thing.
Yes.
Saw that on a bottle of lemonade once. Or can of
But I think it applies to life.
Yes, like he doesn't know that saying already.
Right. That's so good.
What was I going to say?
I like this gotta jam. I like that too.
Oh, yeah. Again, with it's like very, what's the word? Just like.
I don't have time for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Dismissive.
Yeah.
Gotta jam. Bye. All right, so now we're back with Ben and Marlene and Leslie, if you are. Okay.
Yes.
Marlene is like so smitten because of this new Ben. Obviously, we are going to get there when we get there. She has a smile on her face. She's getting like so excited.
Leslie did too good a job, man.
Oh my god, she did too good a job. There is a blooper, and I have to play this. I'll play it after we discuss the scene. How about that?
Okay.
Because I recorded 2 of them, and I can't remember what each of them are, but they're both Leslie and Marlene, so we'll get there. Okay, I wanted to briefly just talk about Bill Watterson and Andrew Carnegie, which are 2 of the people that he mentions. I did not know who either of those people were. Sorry.
I only knew Bill.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I knew what Bill did, but I didn't know his name. So
fair. Yeah, okay.
Like, I didn't know who that was. But anyway, Andrew Carnegie, to just go in a little bit of a deep dive for who these people are, was a Scottish-American industrialist and philosopher who led the movement in the steel industry. Don't know why Marlene is into him, but okay. If he was a revolutionary, then that would make sense.
Yeah.
You know?
I can see that. Yeah.
And then you can explain Bill Watterson if you wrote that down. Or
I didn't, but I just knew he was, I think he's I don't know if he did the illustrations too, but he wrote the Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah, he was an illustrator
comics.
for it too.
Awesome. So he did both. That's really all I knew about him. So I didn't look him up.
Okay.
Please.
Well, I mean,
please
I didn't
proceed.
really. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really look up like a ton of stuff. I just looked up that it was in the 1980s/1990s. Also, it's funny because the reason I know Calvin and Hobbes, and this is awful, but not really. I mean, to my credit, it's not like I was born knowing that because I was, 0 years old when it came out.
Correct.
But anyway, Calvin and Hobbes I know because of the episode of Friends where Joey tells Rachel that he's falling in love with her, and his shirt has a picture of Calvin and Hobbes doing it, apparently. They don't show the shirt, but like that's what they talk about.
Yeah.
But anyway, so apparently this was one of the, according to like legend and just like in general, most people and critics and everybody says that this was the last great newspaper cartoon of all time, Calvin and Hobbes. Cartooning's such a skill, man. Like that's intense and insane.
Yeah, it's a lot of pieces to it.
Mm-hmm. But Marlene just really likes it. And so I'm glad that he brought up the lobotomy line because that must have been a quote I didn't look it up and I'm sorry, but that must have been a quote that was in Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah. I don't know why it applies here. Why are we talking about lobotomies? I don't get it.
Yeah, I think he just likes to bring it up in to try to get Marlene to like him.
Yeah, but why is that the line we have to use?
I don't know. Maybe it's because she needs a lobotomy if she thinks that he's going to give her 10 school buses. That's how I'm going to rationalize it, even though it's not very... It's super nonsensical, but whatever.
Yeah, it just has nothing to do with the Andrew Carnegie quote, which is what bothered me.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Wait, did they say a quote from Carnegie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't even write that quote down. I think that Ben was just trying to fit in as many of those 100 things as possible.
Yeah.
Even if it didn't make sense. But yeah, you're right. It's weird. Okay, so next I'm gonna play this blooper. So basically, there's two. I can't remember which one, but one of them has a ding in there because it was in the bloopers, and whoever was doing like the voiceover for it was saying how many times Leslie was saying sorry, and they put on the screen sorry-o-meter for how many times she just couldn't get through this.
That's funny.
So let's see. I think that's all I need to set it up, but I'll just play it, and then if you have questions or if I think of anything, I'll just tell you.
Bother trying to outflank me because you will fail.
Where did all of this confidence come from all of a sudden?
Okay, guys, let's...
It's just not possible. And don't bother trying to outflank me because you will fail.
Where did all this confidence come from all of a sudden?
Okay, guys, let's relax. Sorry. Oh. Okay. Okay.
For some unknown reason, Amy could not get this line out. The line was simply, okay, guys, let's relax.
From the top. Come on, Adam. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The scene is not about me. I have one line. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You know.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. No.
It got so bad
Shit.
that the director came out to try and help.
You know, it's getting annoying when they're like, you okay?
Yeah. Everyone's like, you all right now? Because we got to go to lunch.
We're hungry.
Family keeps trying to go like this.
He couldn't help.
It's her fault. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. Okay. Okay. Fuck, I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, guys, let's relax.
Okay, that was
You can tell.
Chris doing the blooper or the banjo thing at the very end. But
that's
oh
funny.
my god, it's just so funny that I love seeing people have laughing spells. It's so
Oh,
she
yeah.
just had the spirit take over.
Yeah, seriously. You can tell though, like when you watch the episode, that she's like smiling when she says it.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
yeah. So it doesn't. I never took it as like maybe she's breaking, but like that she's just enjoying their banter.
Yes.
It's kind of what it looks like. So it's funny to know that it's probably because she literally couldn't keep her face straight.
Yes, and it was really funny to watch Marlene in the background too, because Marlene was kind of just like, what's going on? Like she wasn't really laughing as much as Adam starts laughing with Amy Poehler, and
Well,
they start
it's
obviously
it's contagious.
yeah, but Pamela, it didn't seem contagious to her. She was just like, okay, what? She seemed good spirited, but she was like,
Her background is less comedy though, right? It's more like
I don't
drama.
know. I'm not sure.
I thought it was from what we've
Oh, yeah,
discussed in the
maybe
past.
you're
I
right.
could be wrong, but
Anyway, so I thought that was funny. And then on the DVD thing, it said that it took 23 minutes for them to get that line
holy
out.
nuts. Holy nuts. For a 2-second line.
Yes.
I love how she says, the scene isn't even about me.
I know, right? Her literal line is, okay, guys, let's relax. The end.
Yeah. The end. And scene.
Okay, and then I'm not sure what this one is, if I'm completely honest with you, but I titled it More Amy and Marlene, so let's just see.
Cool.
My mom wants to fuck Ben. Is that weird?
That was just the blooper. I totally forgot what that was.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so neither of us were prepared for that, and I hope the audience thought that was as funny as we did, because we had no idea what was coming.
That's so funny. Oh my god. My mom wants to fuck Ben.
Fuck Ben. Oh.
Oh my god. Speaking of which, this is the point when Leslie has this talking head of them really hitting it off, and like you said, this is some of her best work, and behind her, Marlene is rubbing Ben's knee. Oh god. Then Ben gets like super awkward. It's just terrible. With Marlene giving like a wink, saying like, we can compromise. It might get rough, but that can be fun. Oh, yikes.
Yeah, that line makes me uncomfy.
I love that acting by Adam Scott in that scene, but particularly when they're walking down the hall and Leslie's just like going off ranting, like, that went so well. Next we should do this and this. And Ben has this look of like craziness, what the hell is going on kind of thing. Oof.
Yeah, and she says, go over to her house.
Oh my God,
girl.
that's right.
Why?
Whew. All right, so now we have another lady joining Ethel, who is Muriel in this episode. They're complimenting Andy and April, saying they're super cute. And I'm going to do a super little deep dive on Muriel as well. Her name is Vivian Smallwood, and sadly, she also passed away. She passed away in 2017, and she was 84 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she did a great job. I like to think of Ethel and Muriel up in Parks and Rec heaven, just having a blast. And they were so good together. I loved them together. But Vivian Smallwood was in How I Met Your Mother, Everybody Hates Chris. Apparently she's credited as the rapping granny in America's Got Talent. So I don't know if she was on America's Got Talent rapping, or if it was like a sketch, or I don't know what it was.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah. She was also in 6 Feet Under and more things, but she didn't have as much of a bio on IMDb as Helen, who played Ethel. But
Yeah.
I did find that her son was a studio musician for Prince, which is super cool. And her other son is also a
Dang.
musician. So,
Very cool.
and online it says that she has 15 grandchildren and 9 great-grandchildren. Like, wow. So
That
she
is
probably has
insane.
lots of, or her kids probably have lots of cousins once removed, whatever the
Yes, whatever that means.
hell. So rest in peace, Muriel and Ethel. We love you so much. Thank you for your services.
Yes, it was beautiful. And the flirting.
Oh my
is
God,
great.
they're basically flirting with them. It's so cute.
Which shows you that it wasn't like that they're not interested in flirting, is that they don't want to flirt with Tom.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, that's true. And then Ethel is like dropping the folder on purpose because Tom asks her. And it seemed Tom/Aziz kind of looked like he was almost about to break when he was like, stop laughing. Because he was smiling too.
Yeah.
All right, well, now I'm at where Leslie is saying that Ben should give her mom a McSteamy music box, which is so cute, honestly. But also, wow. Like, don't you think you're like, that's a little too far for Ben to give?
I would
to her.
feel weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird.
And because of this weirdness, Ben can't take it anymore, obviously. He just comes clean and says that Marlene made a pass at him. And Leslie's like, oh my God, that's probably the worst thing that could have happened. That's when
She was
she
not
says the
prepared for
bubble.
that.
Or another part when she says the bubble. Like, that's the top of the list of something that would break the bubble is your mom hitting on your new person.
Yeah. Yeah. It's uncomfortable.
So now we're at where Jerry is leading a meeting. He can't speak correctly. He says pork instead of park. And Ron's like, oh, God.
And he goes off with it. I'd have never listened to the background before, but like he then goes on to say that there's a really good pork sandwich in the cafeteria today.
Like, that wasn't a mistake. I totally meant to say that. Or maybe that's what I
Yeah.
was thinking about. Oh, my gosh, that's funny.
Oh, yeah. So,
So Ron finally sees, like, this is not what this should be. And he tries talking to Chris. And, you know, this just, again, as we've been saying it 100 times, Chris still has no idea how this office kind of runs and who his people are. And it was really lovely to see Ron as this actual boss figure, showing he knows his employees, he knows their strengths and, like, what they're capable of. I love this next metaphor that Ron uses, though, like the visual of shining a light on Jer and he shrinks faster than an Eskimo scrotum.
oh gosh.
So poetic.
Yeah. Oh, so poetic. Yeah. It's so great here because like you're saying, like Ron is, we see him as someone who does not care at all, you know, and he's putting work in so that his employees are more comfortable. He's doing it for them. I mean, he's also like, in the end, that's what we really find out because he has to continue to suffer. But it's really nice to see this side of him and give him that. It's kind of like how they have to find points for Michael in the office for redeeming qualities for why he has his job.
Yes.
And I don't think we need redeeming moral qualities for Ron like we did for Michael, but it's the work, redeeming qualities. And that's what I feel like this is.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like we've talked about before where, like, he's one of the characters that, like, if he was in real life, the way that he approaches his work, this would be bad. So to show that he has this humanity and he has this soft side, it's a very good arc, I think, also for him, too. So, yeah, I really loved seeing it. It was super lovely.
Yeah, not only a soft side, but an understanding of the people he works with, too.
Right.
Like, he is paying attention because he knows this stuff.
Right.
So I love his line, you know who April hates? Everyone.
Yes, me too. And
So
I think, to your point earlier, I mean, it's very, very wonderful to see Ron do this without Leslie pushing him to be like, this is what's better for the office. Ron does it of his
She's
own
not
accord.
here.
Yeah.
She's not here to handle it. Like he's alone to deal
Yeah.
with this today. So
Totally. And then you see even more of the understanding / this is, I guess, where maybe the soft side comes in, not the understanding part, but both of him having to make this compromise and how painful it is for him to do that. Because Chris, again, I don't know. I don't know that I've seen this part of Chris before, because usually Chris is like, yeah, we can do that. And then Ben's the one that lays down the law. But Chris is the one in this episode saying, I can't budge on that. I can't do that.
It's like he's having to balance himself out now, too.
Yeah.
Because they're not the duo anymore.
Yeah, it's really interesting to have this like side of Chris that we haven't seen before, I feel. And it's setting us up for what's going to happen when he finds out about Ben and Leslie, I think.
I want to know why he can't roll over on this. Why is this so important to you, Chris? And if it's to show that you're in charge, okay. Like, but like sit down and let's discuss how you can make changes that are going to be beneficial. Because, you know, like it also seems like, because we learned that the compromise is Ron has to stay at his circle desk, right? And everybody else gets to go back to normal. But why is that the compromise for you? That Ron is the one that has to be at the circle desk.
I think it's because Ron's talking to him about it. You know what I mean? Like Ron has to be the one that take the fall. You know, like he's the one that's leading the battle. So no one else can do this because he's the leader. He's the captain, you know?
Yeah. It's just interesting that that's what but it's interesting that I think for me, that decision was more showing Ron's side of I will take the sword for my team. Right. And it was harder for me to equate why is this what does Chris get out of this compromise? More is kind of what I'm thinking about.
It sounds like to me, I'm imagining like a war where like the two captains come to a compromise and they're the ones that that have to do the bad shit, you know, and the soldiers can just like go back to the way that they were kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. It made sense to me, but yeah, I could see how that would be confusing in other regards.
Yeah. So it's cool how it pans out though, because I do like seeing this part of Ron.
Me too. So Leslie's now back in her office and they're talking about Marlene hitting on Ben. Did you see the Vernons or whatever the hell vending machine behind her?
No.
It took me back to olden times when we did the breakdown on the ginger ales.
Yes, I love it.
But yeah, it's bright. It's like super easy, right front and center and behind the window. It's really cute, I feel.
That's cool.
I love this commentary, like flipping the gender norm, basically, of like, I have to ask this, but like, were you asking for it? What were you wearing? I love it. They're so good at that.
Yeah, that's good. Then we go off the deep end again here. Like, we're going to announce sexual harassment, and then you're going to go to Mexico for a couple weeks. Right. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, my God. So funny. And then that's
She's
what
like
prompts
the Energizer
him.
Bunny.
Yep, she is. That's what she is, which is what Ben says in the camping episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, then Ben shows what he did last week too, where he's just like, fuck it, I don't care. And I guess I never noticed that his tenacity, like, you know, kind of ladders, if you will. I don't know how to say that, but basically, like, I didn't realize that like he was so tenacious in these last couple episodes and that it just keeps building up and up and up until he's like, okay, whatever, I love her, let's do this, like this. And what was interesting for me, and maybe this is too intellectual, but like it's almost like he calibrates his meanness for the town into meanness on behalf of the town. Does that make sense? Like, he's taking his tenacity and his anger and all these, like, weird things and, like, channeling it to something good. I don't know. That's just how I saw it. But maybe that's just
interesting.
And it's interesting, too, that Leslie's, like, the one that's more nervous / not stepping up as much, because I did have this weird thought, and maybe this is, like, just, again, whatever, this is just my opinion, but I almost feel like Leslie loves her job more than Ben loves his job. And Leslie doesn't want to ruin that for whatever cause. And I think that's where it becomes, when Leslie does finally, like, spoiler alert, but when Leslie does finally, like, say fuck it kind of thing, it's just this, that's why I think it takes so long for her, because it's just this struggle of like, which is more important to me, and can I have both, and how do I have both? Because right now my job is more important than literally anything else. Like, I love people, but my job is the thing that I love the most. And so it was really interesting to think about that, because I didn't understand for a really long time why it took Leslie so freaking long. But now I get it, because like Ben doesn't love his job as much as Leslie loves hers, I feel.
No, and you notice that she says that. I really like my job. No, but I really like Ben. No, but I really like my job. We never hear Ben do that.
Yeah.
I think Ben's in this, and Ben's what's holding him back really is I think more so the relationship with Chris. That's really what I think it is. I don't think he's making this choice because I'm worried about losing my job. Like, he can go out and do other stuff. This is Leslie's passion. This is not Ben's passion. Ben can go out and find jobs other places, like we'll see later.
That's true.
Right? But I think for him, it's, I've got this person and I don't want to let him down, and I don't want to betray his trust because he's been a constant for me.
I never thought of that.
That's kind of where I see Ben coming from. So,
but now he's getting to that point where he's just like, fuck everything. I don't care.
He really is. Well, and I think it's kind of, I understand Ben to a point here too, when he gets frustrated with Leslie in the beginning and she says it's our bubble. While I totally 100% understand the bubble piece of it, there's also this piece where she says, I don't want anything to come in here and ruin this until we know that it's real. And I think for Ben, he's like, I know it's fucking real. Like, I know it's real. And I think we as an audience know it's real because she's willing to take the risk.
Yeah.
But for her, I think the loss of her job is still weighing so heavy on her that she can't acknowledge that it's real.
Yeah, I was totally feeling Leslie when she said, I do that all the time. I think we all do that, where we're just like, but I don't want to fuck anything up or like tell anybody about this because I don't know if it's real yet, you know?
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
It's a defense mechanism, 100%.
Yeah. Also, I never realized that Leslie's office is so close to her mom's. I think about that every time I watch this episode where he runs over.
Yeah, I think it's not.
Because he literally just walks over and
but I don't think it is. Otherwise, I think I don't know. I always imagine Marlene on a different floor.
Yeah.
Because her office is so much nicer too.
I don't know.
You know, I don't know.
But because I was still trying to understand the layout of the office when I watched this, I was like, how Leslie, remember how I said like Leslie hid Jerry's painting in what looked like a little room on the corner? Like Ben walks through that and it opens into the hallway. So maybe it's not a little room. Maybe it is a hallway. I don't know. But either way, it doesn't matter. But it was just really funny to me to see how quickly he got to her office.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was interesting. It could very well be. I'd be interested. I'm not finding anything Googling what the floor plan is of the entire building.
I know,
so
that'd be great.
That's not helpful. I'd love that.
Anyway, so Ben is like, listen, we're dating. You're not going to tell anybody because it's your daughter. Like, this is this, okay? Sorry you didn't know that before you hit on me. Goodbye.
Why is she laughing?
I know. I wrote that too. I was like, that was an embarrassment laugh, right? But I also think it's a mixture of both. She recovers quickly, which is the important thing and the powerful thing, coming to the agreement. But I think a laugh, that laugh to me, as I thought about it a tiny bit more, is because it's like a power move. Because she's like, I don't fucking care. I just hit on you because I hit on everybody that I think is hot. Like, shut up. And also, I'm kind of embarrassed.
Yeah.
That's the way that I got it.
I love it.
But again, the key is how she recovered, which was so powerful and so, like, I'm the leader. Because she was like, okay, I want this many school buses. And then they compromise and they're like, okay, it's done. And then she's like, I like this one.
Yes, I love that. It's like Leslie's getting like permission.
Yeah.
And even though her mom knows it's against the rules, it's like she's on board with it. And it's like, you know, and I don't know about you, but like when my mom agrees with something I do or is like, I really like this person for you, or I really like, you know, that this is where your life is. Like there's just a validation in my heart for it.
That's nice.
You know? So it's cool.
I like that Amy says, or Leslie says, you keep your hands off him.
Yeah. I love
then we're at Andy coming in talking about Margaret's pecan squares. And again, we're talking about his perspective on things and how he's just grateful because he has a kick-ass wife. His band is so good.
Yep.
And then the lemonade thing comes on. Or not comes on, but you know what I mean. He says a lemonade line. And then Tom doesn't want to make lemonade. He wants to slice lemons into wedges and throw them into vodka tonics. And he wants to own his own nightclub with Tay Diggs and 2 of the Pussycat Dolls.
Yes. Oh, gosh. He doesn't specify which ones, which is great.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like this for Tom.
Me
He's
too.
realizing that he's not moving up like he wanted to. So let's think, what's my next move? He's not going to sit still here anymore. And I like this character growth for him. So.
Yeah. And I love the HoosierCareers.com. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. That's great.
Looks super outdated.
Again, it's very... Yeah, but also very specific because it goes with the HoosierMate.com kind of thing where I'm just like very... Cool. So it's only Indiana that you guys are looking for.
You're right. Yeah, which is interesting. So...
Yeah.
Because you'd think, like, with everything he wants to do, he might go to L.A. or New York. You know?
Yeah.
So it's almost like he's not dreaming too big where he can fail.
Maybe. Perhaps. But either way, I love this moment because it leads to our, next episode when we're going to get into Entertainment 720 and all those things. So that's really cool. So now we're back to Ron, where everything's normal except for him. He took one for the team, which again was very special. I love that whole citizen request, swivel.
Yeah. That guy has a weird walk and a weird posture.
Really?
Nothing against the actor, but it was just very interesting. It felt very awkward for me.
Oh, I didn't even notice. So now Andy's getting his shoe shined by a new shoe shine guy. He's so smug. I love this for Andy so much that Andy is feeling this trajectory of I've come so far. I'm so much better than this guy. This guy was so precious. Wow, you're really good.
So proud. Yeah. Starstruck.
Yes.
I love it.
Love that hierarchy change. This guy's name is Jeff Slonaker, or maybe it's Slonaker. I'm not sure. So sorry, Jeff. But Jeff has been in Key and Peele, a bunch of UCB things, Silicon Valley, something called A-OK, which is a lot of sketches and animations and comedy shorts and things like that. Huge improv dude, which was awesome and, makes sense. The last thing, what's that?
Appropriate
for
this. Yeah.
The last thing on IMDb was in 2016, so I'm not sure what's going on. However, I did message him, and his agents are in touch with me, so perhaps he's like me and just hasn't booked something that would go on IMDb, but is still probably doing things around town and stuff like that. But so I hope that he gets back to me and sends me some voice memos. I sent the question, so hopefully we'll have that as a recap for the next episode.
Perfect.
I feel the part where he calls the new guy a moron and hands him a tip.
I love that. And
I love that literally like you said, it was 2 days ago and now he feels holier than thou. It's so funny.
Yeah. Andy, this is my thought though. He says, when I get back in a couple weeks, right? I don't want my regular customers to be gone. So Tom's not upstairs anymore. So is Andy doing this by himself now is my question? Or maybe did Jerry get sent upstairs to do it with him now?
What do you mean?
Because he says, because everything goes back to normal, right? Tom's coming back downstairs, but Andy is still not coming back to shoes for 3 weeks.
Oh, that's a great question.
So I'm intrigued to know if, because Andy had a positive attitude, Chris was like, sure, you can keep doing that, there.
That's actually really fascinating. Maybe they meant to put that in the middle of the episode before everything went back to normal. I didn't even think about that, but it just was perfect for a tag.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay.
But, yep. I see a future for Andy, though. I'm getting really excited because he gets to move up in the world, too, and I think that's great. Because he does. He works really hard. He puts his full self into everything he does.
That's very true. Sweet, perfect, little well-intentioned Andy.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, that was the bubble. Super exciting. Our
Very
penultimate
exciting
episode. So next time that we talk, we will have Lil Sebastian, and we already did a super huge breakdown on him, so I feel like we won't have to, go too super deep with it, but it will still be nice to revisit him. Love it.
Yeah. What an episode, though. And season finale.
Yeah, and season finale. Crazy. So very exciting. Oh, this is my dream. I was going to tell you my dream really fast. So I had a dream. I think it might have literally been last night. It was either last night or Saturday night. Friday night.
Last night was Saturday night.
Last night was Friday night. So I don't know. Whatever.
Last night was Saturday night. Oh, no, wait. It's Saturday. Oh, my gosh. I think it's Sunday. Is that weird? Okay. I'm so sorry. I worked from home yesterday and it's fucking me up. All right.
It's all good. Okay. The dream. I had a dream that we got Alan Yang on the podcast. And
what?
Then at the end, I think I was recording somebody else too. I don't know if they were on the call with me. I can't remember. But I had a dream that I got Alan Yang and I didn't press record on Zoom. And I had to lie to him and say that Zoom fucked everything up, so I don't have another recording because I was like, I can't tell him that I didn't press record. That would make me look so idiotic, so I have to blame it on Zoom. And I was like, oh my God. I just, oh my God. When I woke up thinking about it, I was like, oh my God, what an anxiety.
That is a nightmare.
Nightmare dream. Because in the dream, he was like, oh, well, unfortunately, I can't really redo another one right now. And I was like, oh fuck. And then it, like the way that the dream was, it was like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to do it again, but like, you know, and then so I think I ended it by saying, well, let me know if you ever have free time or I'll follow up in X, Y, or Z moment. And it was just like the worst thing ever. So I definitely have been thinking about that every time I record now.
Oh my gosh. We're recording, so
yeah, we're recording both on all the things. Zoom is recording because when guests do it, we use Zoom. So if I forget to click a record for Zoom, and I think one time, I can't remember who it was, but one time I did forget to click record like immediately, but like we didn't miss anything because we were just like catching up. It was at the beginning, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But now that's why I click record. I've done. After that, I did it, but now even more so, I will be clicking record.
You're going to be very careful.
Even before I start, even if the recording is 8,000 minutes and I have to wait for people to log on, I don't care. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, that's stressful.
Yes.
What a dream.
Ugh. Woof. Anyway, for those of you who care, we are also now on YouTube. I uploaded everything to YouTube. And by everything, I uploaded our last episode because it's going to take 100 years to upload everything to, if I were to do every single episode. So maybe one day I'll have all of them on there. But for now, I'm just going to put from last episode up until, you know, the future, all of the episodes on YouTube. So we'll see. And then, if there's anything else, please don't forget to rate and review 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. But that really helps us. So hopefully you can share this episode as well.
Yeah. And thank you for listening. And we'll see you for the season finale next time.
We'll see you for Little Sebastian. Have a good week, everyone. Or a good weekend, I guess, technically, if it comes out on Thursdays. Bye.
Bye.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.